So now we're going to talk about finding the slope of a line. Okay, so if we have, again, we might as well go with the same points, to the point 2, 3, x coordinate first, y coordinate second, the point 2, 3, and we have the point, actually we might just take the point 1, 1 for now, just as an example, okay? Out 1, x coordinate 1, y coordinate 1. So that's the point. I'm going to put it in down here, 1, 1, okay? I want to find the slope of the line joining those points. Now, the slope means similar to what it means in English. It's how sloped the line is. And the definition in maths for how sloped a line is its height divided by its width, or its rise divided by its run. Okay, that's the definition for the slope, the rise divided by the run, height divided by width. Okay, so what we would like to know, now just on that, if you have a big long line, if you take the rise divided by the run for this small piece of the line, you will get exactly the same answer as if you take the rise divided by the run for a larger piece or a different piece, because the slope, as you can see, for the line is not changing. So the rise divided by the run at any particular place should give you the same answer. Okay? Now, we want to look at the rise divided by the run for that particular line in this situation here. Okay? So, if we draw a line across here and draw a line down here from the 2 points, point 1, 1, then the rise divided by the run is this many units divided by this many units. So in this case, if you look across, the number of units here is 2 units, and the number of units between here and here is 1 unit. So the rise divided by the run for the line that is joining those 2 points is the slope. So the slope of the line that is joining those 2 points, which is the rise divided by the run, is plus 2, because in other words, it's 2 over 1, which is 2. Okay? Now, I want to talk about a formula, a general formula to get the slope between any 2 points. Okay? So, if we look and we have a point, and we're going to call this, the coordinate of this point, x1, comma, y1. So that's one point. And we have another point over here called x2, comma, y2. We're just labeling them. And we always know each point has an x coordinate and a y. Now, if we want, actually I'm going to move that down here, if we want to know the rise divided by the run, what we're really saying here is we want this distance, that's the rise, divided by this distance, which is the run. Okay? Now, this distance here, if you look, because this point is the point out x1, up y1, that means the x coordinate of this point is x1 and the y coordinate of this point is y1. Okay, I'll rub it out again and put it somewhere else. It seems to be in the way no matter where I put it. This is the point x2, y2. So that means its x coordinate all the way down here is x2 and its y coordinate is y2. Okay? So if we want to know what is this length here, which is known as the rise, okay, hopefully you'll see that it's just the difference between the y2 and the y1. y2 take away y1, this is y2, this is y1, so this distance here is y2 take away y1. So that's this distance here, y2 minus y1 would be the distance between here and here. So it's that distance, y2 minus y1. That distance is the same as that. And this distance is the difference between the two x values, x2 minus x1, because x2 is the whole way to here, x1 is the whole way to here, so the difference between them, here to here, is x2 minus x1. So in other words, this distance here is x2 minus x1. And by the definition of the slope is the rise divided by the run. And in this case, for 2 points, x1, y1 and x2, y2, the slope is the rise, which is the difference between the two y's, y2 minus y1, over the difference between the x's, which is x2 minus x1. Okay, so that's the general formula for the slope, which you will find in your log tables. And the letter that is always associated with the slope in maths, unfortunately, is not S, it's M. So M stands for the slope. M is equal to y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. Okay, and once you have a formula, you can find the slope between any 2 points. But not to forget the start of this video, when I showed you that you could also work out the slope if you could physically see the number of units here and the number of units here. You just need to divide that number of units by that, okay? As long as each unit represents the same thing. Okay, so let me just quickly do a question for you so that you know how to use the formula to get the slope. So if you had a question, find the slope between the point 68 and the point 42. You label the points, call this one xy and x1, y1. This is also xy, so we'll call it x2, y2. The formula in your log tables is y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1, which is the slope, the rise over the run. So in this situation, the slope of the line between those 2 points is y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. Now my advice to you, in an exam situation, at least put it into the calculator. It doesn't make mistakes with minus numbers. But let's look at it. 2 take away 8. That means you are 2 on the positive. If you take away 8, then you'll go all the way back to minus 6. 4 take away 6. That means you're 4 in the positive. And when you go back 4 in the positive, you get to minus 2. A minus divided by a minus is a plus, and 6 divided by 2 is 3. And that's your answer. The slope of the line between the points 68 and 42 is 3. Okay? Now, very, very quickly, I hope I have enough time on this video. I just want to tell you about when you get a minus slope answer. So, from the point of view of a drawing, any line that goes upwards as you go from left to right, as you move from left to right, if a line is increasing or going upwards, then that slope is positive. Okay? It's a positive slope because it is increasing. If you have a line that is going downwards from left to right, then the slope of that line is negative. And that's a very important thing to be aware of. So lines that go downwards, that decrease as you go from left to right, have a negative slope. That means the slope is a minus. Lines that are going upwards as you go from left to right, that slope is positive. And you could have 2 lines that have exactly the same steepness, but one is going downhill and one is going uphill as you go from left to right. So the slope number that represents the steepness, because slope is rise over run, so that represents the steepness of the line. They could have the same steepness, but one, so let's just say that has a steepness of +2. Well, it's more likely to be +1 looking at it, so +1. This one will have a steepness of -1. if they have the same value. Okay, so upwards going from left to right is a positive slope, downwards going from left to right is negative. Okay, I think that'll be enough for this video. I will do another video just to extend that.